Well, welcome everybody. If you're just now joining us, welcome to Open Day Live. If you've been around all day, happy that you've had a good time with us today and hopefully you enjoy this session. I'm sitting here with our incredible principal and vice principals here in Australia. This is Angela.
Hello.
Mary and Cameron. So, guys, we're just going to get to know you just a little bit here. Some of these people who are watching have probably never seen you, never met you before. So I want to just kind of keep it light and breezy, get to know you a little bit better. Is that cool?
Nice.
Breezy.
Sweet. So just have a couple of questions here I'm going to ask you guys. First of all, where are you from and how long have you lived in Sydney? Maybe starting with Angela.
Yeah, I am from Seattle, Washington in the United States.
Nice.
It's funny to say that because I've lived in Australia for 20 years, but haven't lived in Seattle for almost 31 years. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Mary?
Madison, Mississippi.
Madison, Mississippi.
Yeah, right.
I love it.
That's incredible.
Double S-I-double-P-I. And I've been here for 15 years.
Yeah, wow.
So, yeah, it's good.
What about you, Cam?
I'm actually born and bred Sydney, Australia. Grew up 15 minutes down the road in Seven Hills.
Yeah, wow.
Actually, Layla Park, formerly known as Trailer Park, but it was great. Yeah.
So you're not from Mississippi is what I'm hearing.
No,
Right.
not at all.
We do
Well,
have
great.
lots of
What is your favorite place to hang out here in Sydney?
Well, for me, beaches in the summer and in the winter, probably cafes, local cafes.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
Sydney has some of the best coffee. You have to come out and try it.
100%.
Angela puts her word to it.
Yeah.
Although Angela does still drink like Starbucks coffee as well.
Sometimes.
It
Coffee
depends
versus-
on. It
Yeah.
depends on caramel lattes and
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Every now and
Yeah.
then, though,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it's a good Starbucks is good.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a caramel macchiato every now and again.
Look at you, John.
I do that. I
Well
do that.
done.
Guilty pleasure. What about you, Mary? What's your favorite place to hang out here in
Yeah.
Sydney?
Look, I do like the beaches, but I like to kind of retreat into the mountains sometimes. So Blue Mountains is a really beautiful area
Yeah.
here as well. So I like a nice cozy fireplace.
Ooh,
You know,
nice.
like put
I
on some
agree.
sweaters, put on some fire, put on some good music.
Yeah.
It's a happy place.
Vibes.
And
Nice.
how far away is the Blue Mountains from the city campus?
Yeah, so we're in the city. You can get there on a train, actually. If you don't have a car, you can get there in about an hour,
Yeah,
hour and
cool.
10 minutes.
That's awesome.
And if you drive, it's about the same, hour and 15.
Yeah, nice little
yeah.
day trip for you.
Yeah, it's great.
What about you, Cam?
All of the above. I actually love beaches and cafes myself. Right now, though, my wife and I have just bought a puppy, so our favourite place is
Yes.
Bayview Dog Park.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I
the day trip is Bayview Dog Park, let the dogs swim and run around and make friends, and then we all go to, there's actually a really nice place called the Newport Arms Hotel, and you can bring your dog.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
So we just go hang out with our dog and like eat great food and hang out with friends, and yeah. So
Does
That's
the
really
dog
becoming
order
a thing.
his
Awesome
own
place.
food or do you order food for the dog?
Well, look, I'm pretty sure you probably could order your dog food there.
Honestly.
I've never tried it though. So I do know you can have your dog there, which is awesome.
Nice. Well, just a little bit of nostalgia for you guys. What was your very first job?
I can go first.
Go for it.
Well, actually, my first ever job was working at McDonald's.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm actually, my last name is
was
McDonald's.
gonna say
And
that.
my brother, I'm a triplet as well. You wouldn't know that, but I am a triplet. There are three of us. It's great. I have a brother and a sister, and we all worked at McDonald's at the same time, at the same
No way.
restaurant.
It must have been very confusing.
We were famous. People thought we were actually part of the
That's
franchise.
amazing.
Yeah.
And we just ran with it. It was
It's your
great.
inheritance.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mary, what about you?
Subway,
Nice.
eat fresh.
Eat fresh.
Yes.
Always.
I was a sandwich. I was a sandwich
Still got-
artist.
A sandwich
Yes,
artist.
that's what they called us, a sandwich
Powerful.
artist. And then I got a promotion to a shift supervisor at the airport, which was pretty fun. I was working at the airport. You get to meet all the people coming
Yeah.
through. Made me slightly jealous because I wanted to travel as well, you know. So
Right.
it was, but I endured it.
Proud of you.
I was a burger master.
Ah.
I worked
Burger
for my
master
dad.
and a sandwich artist.
So I worked for my father. He had his own restaurant
Cool.
for many, many years. Like I think he owned it for 27 years.
Wow.
So I worked for my father, and which means I had to work harder than anybody else.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Yeah, Burgermaster. That's me.
Was
That wasn't the
like
name
a
of it.
self-proclaimed title? Like, did you?
I
did you,
just
like,
made it up right
that's
now.
awesome.
Yeah.
After I heard hers, I thought I gotta one up her.
Would you say after all these years that you are still a burger master?
No, I actually feel like I've burgered out. So I haven't had a burger in a long time. My husband loves burgers. Now I'll have one every now and again.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah.
Well, speaking of food, if you could have dinner with one person, living or dead, could be absolutely anybody, who would it be?
Wow.
I always answer these questions, and then later on, I wish I would have answered different. So I'm just going to be really quick and stick with my answer. I think it would be Oprah Winfrey.
Yes.
I don't know. She's so intriguing. I feel like she is came from such a really destitute background, and has done such an amazing job at becoming a very healthy whole person.
Yeah, for sure.
And I find her interesting, and I just think she's quite smart. She's very, across the breadth of things, very interesting. So yeah.
Good answer. What about you, Mary?
I think if it was leadership, I would want to do Mayor Giuliani from New York City.
Okay.
I've not read his book, but I've heard a lot of people talk really good things about his book. Just sounds like an interesting person.
Yeah.
So I think I'd like to do that if it was leadership. If it was family, just my grandmother. I like her name's Mary Jo.
Nice.
Mary Jo. And she's just really special. So I'd like to just sit with her.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's great. What about you, Cam?
I'm going to take the spiritual route.
Yep. Here
I
it
would
is.
actually love to have lunch or dinner with the Apostle Paul.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'd ask him all sorts of questions about what happened on the road when Jesus showed up and he went blind for 3 days. And I think he'd have some unbelievable stories.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
Really
I would do.
cool.
Love it.
What would you say is your favorite TV show of all time? Be very careful. Has to be of all time.
That's so hard.
I have a tie.
What is the tie?
The tie would be The West Wing
Okay.
and The Newsroom, because they're both written by Aaron Sorkin, and he is an incredible writer. The script just moves so fast, and people bounce off of each other all the
Right.
time. And I just like political things. That's Mayor Giuliani's book as well, I guess.
Okay.
But I just like political shows, and they're really great.
They're very interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to know how much of it is true versus just a little bit fabricated.
Yeah, right.
I think it's a little
Yeah.
complicated.
Just a little bit though, not too much. What about you, Angela?
I'm a mood person.
Ooh.
I have to be in a mood to like certain things.
Yeah.
The
So
burger.
so I love mysteries and things like that. But I will say, and this is going to be way off the page, but I love Seinfeld.
Okay.
I'm a Seinfeld person.
Seinfeld's
I
classic.
think I'm an oldie. So Seinfeld
Yes.
was one of those things that I don't know, I love to laugh, and laughter is one of those things that, and I like quick humor. I like to think about, I don't know, I find Jerry Seinfeld funny.
Yeah.
Call me crazy. But I love The West Wing as well. I love things that I have to think about as well. So
Have you
mood.
seen comedians in cars
Yes.
getting coffee?
And
That is a
I
good show.
I've
drink my
wanted to
coffee
see
with
that,
it.
and
It's
it
a
looks so
great
fun.
show.
It's
pretty funny.
amazing. I love
It's
it.
pretty
I love it.
Yeah.
Seinfeld's classic. What about you, Cam?
I'm definitely a sitcom fan.
Yep.
I do love all different types of shows, but sitcoms definitely hit it for me. So it's probably a two-way tie between Friends and Frasier.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are great.
Frasier.
They're just great.
Oh, I
They're
love
just
Friends.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Friends is a great
I mean,
cast.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something I could list.
Yeah.
I know. This just opens a whole door. Yeah.
100%.
So taking a bit more of a serious route, what is the most important life lesson that you think everyone should learn?
Wow.
A life lesson, I think, is how you treat people.
For sure.
So
Absolutely.
for me, treating every person equal, I mean, to the best of your ability. But I just think treating people well is a life lesson, because your life should be an example of Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it should make people want to know Christ. So
For sure.
how you treat them, how you leave people feeling when you leave the room, to me is a life lesson.
Yeah.
But I think also making great choices.
Yeah. I think people underestimate the impact of what it is like to treat other people well rather than caring more about yourself, but treating other people well and making
Yeah.
sure that they're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
understand. What about you, Mary?
Yeah. I mean, that's high up there for sure. I did 3 years at the college here, and I remember every one of those years, I would just get so frustrated about things that weren't going my way.
Yeah.
And I really felt like there was a defining moment in my third year that God really challenged me to let frustration fuel change. And I think a lot of times we can get, like, frustration just creates conflict for people. It creates tension. It creates tension in relationships. And so I think the life lesson would be just the frustration that you feel, instead of letting it eat you up, like, let it produce great ideas to change something. If you don't like it, well, then make a contribution and stop criticizing it, you know, actually do something about it.
Yes, that's a word. I hope people are listening to that.
I hope I'm listening to that.
Yeah, true. What about you, Ken?
I would say probably my biggest life lesson is take a risk.
Yeah.
Take a risk in faith. Trust God, because He can do way more than you think He can.
Yeah.
And you're capable of way more than you think you are when you trust Him.
That's good.
So that's been my story. And when you're faithful with what He's asked you to do, it's always, the result is always far greater than you can ever, I think you could ever manufacture on your own.
So, Mary, you actually mentioned that you studied here at Hillsong College for 3 years. So what were some of the things that you learned in Hillsong College, and what advice would you give to people who are wanting to come?
Yeah, that's great. One of the things that I definitely learned was just about the church. I think I had a preconceived idea of the church being just a function, a building, a role and a responsibility. We show up at Sunday, we do things. But I think being here, and because college is so grafted into church, it's that actually we are the church.
Yeah.
And falling in love with the church doesn't mean falling in love with the name of your church or the building of your church or the facilities that you have. It actually is about falling in love with the people of that church, and seeing the best in people and believing the best in people and drawing the best out of people. And so college for me was way more than just an academic experience or a classroom experience. It was actually integration into the church and falling in love with the people and the initiatives that we have to serve the community. And I loved it, and I would highly recommend it. You know, if you have a passion for missions or you have a passion for your community, coming here is actually such a great way to get involved with community and missions and falling in love with people, just like Christ has called us to love His people and His church.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us, guys, here in Open Day Live. Been great getting to know you. And if you guys want to stick around, we have another session coming up. Can't wait to see you there.